I've done that in lecture before. Smoking. Smoking cigarettes or Sheesha, or I will not mention the other things, right? Any kind of smoking, tobacco and its brothers and sisters in evil, used to be among the doubtful matters because they were not sure whether the evidences we had were in fact applicable to this smoking thing, right? Does it apply? We had narrations of do not kill yourselves, right? We had the narrations وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمْ الْخَبَائِثِ. When Allah described the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, He said, He makes lawful for them all that which is good. And He makes yuharrim. What does yuharrim mean? From what word? Haram. He prohibits upon them everything which is evil. So, at some point in time, before the studies were made on nicotine and the cigarette and the chemicals that it contains, it was actually a doubtful matter. Do the narrations and the verses dealing with killing yourself and this is being khabitha, are they applicable to smoking or not? So even though it was doubtful at some point in time, back when it first came out in the Turkish, among the Turks, and then it started spreading among the Muslim Ummah, this is no longer the case today. Smoking has been taken out from the level, or from the column of doubtful things into the column of what? Haram. And anyone who doubts that needs to reconsider his position. It is haram beyond any shadow of doubt. How can you say that smoking is not haram? How? If we were to look at it from a number of aspects, because we need to remove this doubt. It's a doubtful matter and we need to remove it and take it from between halal and haram into haram. So no one who smokes here, or no one who knows anyone who smokes, will ever entertain this act of smoking, whether for yourself or for your loved ones. Maybe a sister, her husband smokes, or her parents smoke, or whatever. Right? Smoking needs to be out of our lives as Muslims who believe in Allah and the last day, because of the following. Reason number one, the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly stated, and this is the strongest evidence that indicates prohibition, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to make things which are good halal and things which are evil haram. And no sound human being, if he were given the option to categorize cigarette under one of two columns, halal, good or evil, no sound human being, even a child, will put the cigarette under the column of good things, because it doesn't make sense. Whether you make the studies or you don't, we have the element of the smell. Imagine someone smelling like an ashtray. Have you smelled an ashtray before? It stinks, right? Someone next to you smelling like an ashtray. His breath smells like an ashtray. This is repulsive and unacceptable. Let alone entering the masjid and bothering and harming the Muslims, which in return will harm the angels. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ الْمَلَائِكَةَ تَتَأَذَّى مِمَّا يَتَأَذَّى مِنْهُ بَنُو آدَمَ. Verily the angels are harmed with that which harms the children of Adam. So bad smell, whether it is armpit, armpit, or socks, or feet, or shoes, or sweat, anything which generates a foul odor is unallowed for a Muslim, particularly in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So harming the believers is not a joke. Allah says in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بِغَيْرِ مَا اكْتَسَبُوا فَقَدْ احْتَمَلُوا بُهْتَانًا وَإِثْمًا مُبِينًا. Verily those who harm and annoy the believing men and women undeservedly, they don't deserve it. They will bear the crime of slander and clear sin. You have the right to breathe fresh air. Allah created the fresh air for us to breathe. for someone to contaminate this air with this pollution, this is a form of air pollution, and make it in such a way where you are forced to smoke with a smoker through secondhand smoking is a calamity. The smoker is in fact making everyone around him smoke along with him without them wishing to do so. You don't want to smoke. So how would you understand this then if they were to go into a restaurant where there's meat and various kinds of foods, and this person, is just smoking as if he's living alone on this earth, and the smoke travels in air, it winds up going into the food, going into the bread, going into everything, and when you go buy a hamburger, you bought a smoking hamburger. It has been smoked up with smoke, with the various people who have been smoking, let alone the manager of the place who's there all the time smoking, or the employees. This is big haram. Is this doubtful to anyone? SubhanAllah. Killing yourself. Is it allowed for any Muslim to kill himself? Do we commit suicide? Do we get sick of life, say, khalas, I can't deal with it anymore, I'm out? Put the rope, hang the rope in the house and hang yourself? No. Prophet ﷺ said, whoever does this, he will continue to kill himself on the day of judgment, in Jahannam, forever. That's the threat. Somebody shoots himself, he'll be shooting himself over and over and over again. Someone throws himself from the top of a mountain, from a building, similarly. So you have Muslims now who come all the way from some far country, and they want to die where? In Mecca or Medina. So he rents the highest room up in the hotel, and woo, Superman out the window, and Superman is dead on the floor. And wallah, I've died in Medina. La ya akhi. No one will do here. No one will do this here. But I've read this in the newspapers. People wanting to die in this sacred land, so they come and commit suicide here. You say this defeats the purpose. So killing oneself is not allowed. Okay, this is a glass of water. Now, if I were to put a whole glass of poison and drink it, is this halal? Does anyone have any doubt? But inevitably it's haram. But let's do it the other way. If I say, check it out guys, I'm not going to kill myself just instantaneously. How about I do this? According to doctors, if I consume, 2 milliliters of poison, I will die. So I will put a glass of water, and I will put, let's say 3 milliliters. I put 1 milliliter today. And this coming lecture, inshallah, this coming Monday, FYI, titled Errors in Connection, will be, I will take another 1 milliliter. And on the third one, I will take the third, and then I will die on the last, lecture, which will fall on a Monday, after having consumed the 3 milliliters of poison. Does that make it halal? It is still what? Suicide. So we have quick, suicide and long-term suicide. Now, have you ever purchased a product in your life that said on it, be careful, I have poison, you would probably get cancer and die, and you buy it afterwards? Imagine, you go with your children to the supermarket and there's a chocolate bar that says, contains chemicals, and whatever, gasoline. If you drink, if you eat too many of these, your children will die. Would you buy it for your son? No way. Because advertising necessitates that they lie. The only company in the world that doesn't lie when it comes to the product are the cigarette companies. They tell you clearly. And a Muslim will go afterwards and buy this, pay fulus, which we've been working hours for, hard working hours, day and night. We have family back home who need the money. Who if you give them this 4 or 5 riyals, they may eat with it for a week. We find some Muslims, may Allah rectify our condition in theirs, use it to buy cigarettes. So now they're wasting money in something which is haram. What is the point? Smoking is haram. Anyone who says it is doubtful has no knowledge of this matter, and you don't listen to him. I gave you the evidences. They are convincing, as you can see. Consequently, my brothers and sisters in Islam, we cannot smoke, and we cannot let anyone around us smoke as well. We must enjoin what is good and forbid what is evil. There's no compromising in this element of our deen. We have not been favored as a nation except because of this quality. Now if you brothers and sisters who come to da'wah, who have da'wah tendencies, da'wah inclinations, the tendency to become rightly guided, to be good Muslims, if we don't do this, who's going to do it? The people who don't show up? No one will do it anymore. And we may be destroyed as an ummah. So when you see someone smoking, get involved. Memorize the evidences. They're available in many fatwa. Know the rulings. And stop the people from smoking. Explain it in a nice way. Be gentle, be kind. Use your personal approach in da'wah. However, we cannot afford to leave people around us smoking. It is shocking to see two brothers sitting next to each other. One who seems to be practicing, another one who's, whatever. And the other one is smoking next to him and the brothers are sitting there conversating with him. I mean, in reality, you shouldn't allow this. Say, subhanAllah, no respect for me? You have no respect for me? I'm sitting here having a conversation with you. You smoking in my face? Puffing smoke in my face? No. Put out the cigarette. I mean, this is your right. So if we don't do this, the smokers will think that no one will ever stop them. So they will continue to smoke everywhere all the time. And when you try to stop them, they will look at you funny. And this happens nowadays. We've had people say, mind your business, man. Why are you everybody smokes. Why do they bring it into the country? Look at this funny. Huh? Why is, if it was haram, why is it in the country? MashaAllah. This justifies it now? If people are committing zina in this country, so we say zina is halal. Wallah, people are committing zina. What the people do has nothing to do with the ruling in the book of Allah and the sunnah of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So then, concerning this particular point, smoking used to be doubtful, now it is not. It is haram. Please remember.